Gavin Newsom has been on a humiliation tour of the entirety of the Trump administration. It doesn't matter if it's the president himself, Stephen Miller, Kristi Noem, he's going after them all. But now he's really hitting close to home. But not technically Trump's home because him and Melania don't spend that much time together. Obviously, I'm talking about Melania Trump, who Gavin Newsom just got done mocking, and Trump is losing it. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we can get into how Gavin is mocking the person who is most absent from this Trump administration, I want to start with how he called out another member of Donald Trump's administration who's having wife troubles of their own. And that's Stephen Miller right here.
Donald Trump sent masked men to the event, ICE and Border Patrol, primarily the Border Patrol, to intimidate folks. Poor guy who was selling strawberries was arrested. I imagine he must have been on the most wanted list. Dangerous felon. Disappeared. That is a preview of things to come. Don't think for a second he's going to stop in the National Guard. It's an interesting fact. 4,000 National Guard were federalized, over 700 members of the United States Marine. 95% of them did nothing. They sat there looking for things to do. Hundreds plus $1 million wasted. Literally looking for an assignment. They were taken off the beat. These are police officers, your National Guard. These are firefighters. These are teachers. These are caregivers. They were taken off the streets doing real work to keep you safe and protected, to keep you healthy. And they sat there in the armory looking for something to do. He will send the National Guard. He will send them all across this country, and he will do so through Election Day. And if you think I'm exaggerating, consider the fact that as he demobilized our National Guard, he kept hundreds of them through Election Day. And he'll do so working in concert, as he has with ICE and Border Patrol, to do the same. You have the largest private police force in the world. When they're done with this, all that funding and that big, beautiful portrayal allows more resources for this private police force that increasingly is showing a tendency not to swear an oath to the Constitution, but to the President of the United States. And he'll be sending them to voting booths and polling places all across this country. This is a real and serious moment in U.S. history. And by the way, I say that as an American, not as a Democrat. Every Republican should be ashamed about this and scared to death about not just these authoritarian tendencies, but these authoritarian actions by the president. He is weak. He's weakness masquerading as strength. And that makes him more dangerous than most people believe.
Stephen Miller is easily the most reprehensible member of Donald Trump's administration, and it's not only because, as I always say, his suits don't fit and he's disgusting to look at, but he has no morals. Nothing grounds him except for his hatred and his anger. He is a vile figure in this administration, and it makes him really easy to poke fun at, especially because Republicans, as Gavin Newsom continues to mock them on Twitter, don't really understand the joke he's playing on them, how he is twisting their own words. And someone who clearly didn't get it was Mike Johnson on Fox right here.
But he name-dropped you personally yesterday, essentially trying to say that crime is worse in Louisiana than it is in California. Take a listen. We'll get your thoughts.
If he is to invest in crime suppression, I hope the President of the United States would look at the facts. Just consider Speaker Johnson's state and district. Just look at the murder rate. That's nearly 4 times higher than Californians in Louisiana.
Have at it.
Again, Gavin Newsom will do anything for attention. He can.
If you're going to talk about crime, maybe the crime shouldn't be exploding in your home state, in your home district. Those things don't really compute or make a lot of sense. But of course, Republicans don't actually care about this. This is just a petty personal politics. They want to inflict their worldview upon you and do whatever makes them happy. And the latest example around Melania, why she was so senselessly mocked, is because this unwillingness that Republicans claim the media has to engage with her, that she's not on the cover of every magazine so they lose their mind. Well, she finally got her wish. She was on the cover of Vanity Fair. But the happiness, the excitement around it only lasted so long, as you can see from Newsom right here. A conservative outlet published this photo of Melania Trump pretending that she was on the cover of Vanity Fair because she has been whining about it just so much, and Gavin Newsom's team responded with their own fake cover of Vanity Fair, poking fun at just how ridiculous conservatives are. We have seen non-stop whining from conservatives about how they're not treated nice enough, no one wants to be their friend, oh boo-hoo, what a shame. And that's what they are. They want to say that, like, we're woke, we're the snowflakes, we're always in our feelings. Fox did a whole segment on Melania not being on the cover of Vanity Fair and then lost their minds at a fake image that they fell for because like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. What a huge win for the Trump administration. But clearly Donald Trump is not too happy with Gavin Newsom for a whole host of things, including mocking Melania. That's why he was losing his mind right here.
But I think that's actually just an excuse. I actually think these people are sick. There's something wrong. So we send hundreds of millions of gallons of water a day into the Pacific Ocean. They turn a valve, and the valve heads out, and we turn the valve back. I actually had to do it using force. We turned the valve back, and now they have water, but not as much as they should have, because they should, and I'm telling Gavin Newsom by this conversation right now, turn the rest of the water on. Turn it on.
Again, this is a petty personal politics. They are self-absorbed. They are consumed with their own grievance. That is the only thing that they are ever focused on. Just listen to the Fox propaganda outlet and how they were furious that Melania didn't get the recognition she deserves.
Maximizing the viewership.
Was Jill on the cover?
Yes. Twice, I think.
She was on the cover twice?
And then you have...
was Michelle Obama on the cover?
3 times.
3 times.
Okay.
On Vogue.
Do you think those two women are prettier than Melania Trump?
You're not going to answer that. Not going to answer that. Not going to answer that.
No, do you think they're prettier?
No,
is it not about pretty? Is it about fashion? Because Melania is also more fashionable.
Right. She is. She's the most attractive first lady ever. Let's be honest. I have not seen Martha
Washington?
I have not seen her.
She's not your type?
The problem is when you have portraits instead of pictures,
you can't
don't
really get a good look.
Thank you.
What about Jackie O?
All right. What's your point? Why am I?
What's my point?
Yeah.
What's your point? You said she's going to start dating somebody.
Can I save you guys?
It's so funny that Republicans think that they can brand themselves as anti-elite and we're counterculture and we don't care about the institutions, but they so desperately want to be on the cover of magazines and be liked and have friends and pretend that they're popular in the culture. That's just not the case, and we saw this after the 2024 election when there was this kind of month or two where Republicans were saying, oh, you know, the culture has completely shifted, America's more conservative, we love Donald Trump, this was a sweeping mandate. And it instantly fell apart the second Donald Trump tried to implement any of his disgraceful, unlawful, unconstitutional, and morally reprehensible policies. And people realized, oh yeah, we hate Donald Trump and we hate conservatives because they're annoying as shit, they're liars, they don't do anything, and they're just so consumed with themselves. That's it. And that's why we have to fight back. We can't let them pretend that they're tough. They're not. Federal workers are fighting back, though, and Jen Psaki broke it all down right here.
But presidents are not all powerful. That's one thing that we need to be very clear about and keep stating. They cannot just do whatever the heck they want. And that's one of the reasons why there are a bunch of important jobs throughout the federal government that are designed as independent from the White House and from the president, whoever is the president. Jobs where people remain in their roles through administrations of both parties. Some of these jobs have 10-year terms, 12-year terms, 14-year terms. Jobs where new presidents are not allowed to come in and just start firing people. But as we've seen, Trump has been on a bit of a total rampage since taking office, firing as many of those independent voices as he can possibly get away with. Now, there may be people or jobs that most people haven't heard of, but they are still very important. They're playing very important roles in the government, some of the most important ones. Now, in January, Trump fired 2 members of the National Labor Relations Board, the agency that protects the rights of private sector employees against unfair labor practices, a pretty important thing. He also fired 2 members of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which protects workers from discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, age, or disability, also very important. In February, he fired the chair of the Merit System Protection Board, which protects federal workers from being forced out of their jobs without cause. And in March, he fired 2 Democrats on the Federal Trade Commission, the agency responsible for protecting American consumers from fraud. To be absolutely clear here, in case there's any doubt, Trump was not allowed to fire any of those people under the law. And at the time, many of them stood up and challenged their firings in court. Not an easy thing to do, by the way. And one case even made its way to the Supreme Court. Now, as you might expect, the court's conservative majority was all too eager to validate Donald Trump's reckless actions. In a 6-3 decision, all 6 conservative justices decided to let Trump's firing stand while the case played out in the lower courts. How courageous of them. But even those 6 very conservative justices, 3 of them whom Trump nominated himself, remember, make clear that there are some people Donald Trump should not be allowed to fire, effectively saying there are some jobs that are so important they must be protected from presidential overreach. Specifically, they said the president should not be able to arbitrarily fire members of the Federal Reserve. Because, as they said, the Federal Reserve is a uniquely structured institution with a distinct historical tradition of independence. All for good reason. So their message was pretty clear. I mean, the conservative justices were basically saying, all right, Donald, we're going to let you fire these people that no president has been allowed to fire before. But we're drawing the line at the Federal Reserve. Do not try to fire anyone on the Federal Reserve's Board of Governors. That was the message Trump got from a co-equal branch of government, a conservative one, by the way. But what those conservative justices should have known, what everybody watching this probably knows and knew before they did, is this. If you give Donald Trump an inch, he will always take a mile. And so last week, Trump just blatantly leaped over that red line that the Supreme Court drew for him. He fired Lisa Cook, a member of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, and another brazen, likely illegal power grab. But here's the other thing that happened. Lisa Cook made it very clear that she is not going to go down without a fight. Today, she filed a lawsuit challenging Trump's authority, telling the court that if Trump is allowed to fire her, then he can, quote, remove any Federal Reserve Board member with whom he disagrees about policy based on chalked-up allegations. Yeah, exactly. Lisa Cook understands that the only way to stop Donald Trump from seizing absolute power for himself is to fight back. And she is not the only one. Today, Trump fired another member of an independent agency, a member of the Surface Transportation Board, who Trump himself actually appointed during his first term. He, too, is vowing to challenge his firing. And other federal officials are standing up as well.
This is exactly what we need in this moment. Show that Donald Trump isn't tough. Show that he does not have sweeping power to do whatever he wants and will just capitulate. Every other institution has done that. We've seen it from Wall Street. We've seen it from corporate media. We've seen it from universities, unfortunately, my alma mater included. And it has been so sad to watch these people with an opportunity to talk about why universities are important, why media independence is important, why real journalism is important, and they've just failed to do so. But we'll fight back, we'll call it out. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.